This lesson we will focus on how to model English words and sentences with algebra. So look at the first one. When we look at plus, increase by, added to, those verbs is equivalent to the mathematical symbol addition. And when you see subtract, less than, difference, decrease by, all those ones are the minus. And when you see product or multiply by or times, this is multiplication. And divided by or quotient, that means division. And if you see equals, is equal to, is the same as, resultant or gives, those ones are called equal sign. Next one, we're going to change the sentences into mathematical equation. So first of all, we're going to say let n represents a number. So when you say a number increased by 6, means n plus 6 is equals 4. Next sentence, a number decreased by 6, that means n subtract 6 is 10. A number less 3, n subtract 3 gives, means equals 5. The sum of a number and twice that number. Sum means addition between two numbers. What are those two numbers? One is n, the other one is twice of the number, which is 2n. Gives equals 9. The next two are very similar, but there's a difference by the comma. So let's look at the first one. A number reduced by 2, so n subtract 2, then times by 3, so bracket times by 3 is 10. And sometimes what we write is, we write the numbers in front. So we will say 2 times n minus 2 equals to 10. And the next sentence here, it says a number reduced by 2 times 3. That means a number n reduced by minus and 2 times by 3. So we have to do 2 times by 3 first before we subtract from n equals to 10. So those two sentences are quite different. Next one, 5 times a number divided by 4. So 5 times by n divided by 4 is the same as 12. But usually we like to write as a fraction. So we write like this, 5n over 4 equals to 12. Then 7 times a number is 5 greater than 44. So 7 times by number. This number is bigger than 44 by 5. That means I have to subtract 5 in order for them to become 44. The sum of two consecutive numbers is 10. Consecutive number means one after another. So if the first number is 2, the next number is 3. If the first number is 10, the next number will be 11. That means if your first number is 5 and the next number will be 5 plus 1 will be 6. That means if the first number is n, then the next number will be n plus 1 equals to 10. A number reduced by 5 is 11. So n minus 5 equals 11. A number multiplied by 9 is 15. So that means 9 times by n equals to 15. When a number is divided by 3, that means n divided by 3, the result is, means equals 17. However, once again, we always write as a fraction. So we write n over 3 equals to 17. Next one, 10 less than a number. So n minus 10 is the same as 14. 12 is 4 more than 3 times the number. So 12, because it's 4 more, so I have to subtract 4 in order for them to become 3 times by the number. The sum of the two consecutive numbers is 15. Same thing again, so it's n plus 1 equals to 15. 5 more than 3 times the number is 10. So 3 times by the number, so it's 3n. 5 more plus 5 equals to 10. A number reduced by 2, so n minus 2, there's a comma, so we stopped. And then multiply by 9. Multiply by 9 gives, means equals 3. Once again, you can write the numbers in front of the bracket, so you do 9 times by n minus 2 equals to 3. And then we are going to do the last two. 4 less than 3 times the goal score. So right now, there's not a number now. So we're going to say this. Let G represents the goals scored. So we say 3 times the goals, 3G, minus 4 gives 41. So Tom's age, so I'm going to say let A represents Tom's age. So as you can see, we always can use the name of the alphabets to represent the noun. So Tom's age is A, increase by 5, so A plus 5. And then comma, that means bracket now, divided by 3 equals 17. Once again, we can write as a fraction, so A over 5 over 3 equals 17. That's applied to some word problems. So example 1, Mrs. Lee operates a store with her children, Jerry and Coco. So first bullet, Jerry makes twice as much as Coco. And Mrs. Lee makes $200 more than Jerry. So Mrs. Lee earns more than Jerry, and Jerry makes more than Coco. So Coco makes this amount. So we are going to say let K represents the amount of money that Coco makes. Therefore, Jerry is going to be 2 times of Coco. So we say 2K. And Mrs. Lee makes $200 more than Jerry. That means Jerry plus 200, which is 2K plus 200. And keep that in mind, Coco is K dollars. And that's a look at the last bullet. It says the total payroll is $1,450. Total means all 3 of them together. So my equation will become this. Coco plus Jerry plus Mrs. Lee together is $1,450. So K plus 2K plus 2K plus 200 equals 1,450. Let's collect the like term. 1K plus 2K plus 2K in total is 5K plus 200 equals to 1,450. And we want to isolate for K, so you subtract 200 on both sides. So you get 5K equals to 1,250. And I want to isolate for K, so I divide it by 5 on both sides. So K equals to 250. So what does that imply? That means Coco is K, which is $250. $250. Jerry equals to 2K, which is 2 times by 250 is $500. And Mrs. Lee is going to be Jerry plus 200, which is $500 plus $200 will be $700. So therefore, you will say Coco makes $250. Jerry makes $500. And Mrs. Lee makes $700. Next, example 2. John works at a park selling peanuts. So he's getting paid by $6 per hour plus 50 cents of a commission for every single bag of peanuts that he sells. So, A, you want to find how much John earns if he sells 42 bags and during a 4-hour shift. So we know the total amount of earning that John is going to have equals to the hourly pay plus the commission. So the hourly pay will be $6 per hour, but he works for 4 hours. So For the 4 hours that he worked, he earned $24. And he sells 42 bags of peanuts. But for each bag he sells, he gets 50 cents. 50 cents, you have to change dollars. That means $0.5, which means $21. So in total, he gets $45. For part B, now the other way around, they tell you that total amount of money that he earned is $100. So $100 that he earned in total equals to, he works for 7 hours, so $6 per hour times by 7. Plus, I have no idea how many bags I sell. So I say B times by 0.5. Since I use a variable, so that's defined there. Line B represents the amount of bags of peanuts that John sold. Then you have 100 equals 42 plus, let's change 0.5 into a fraction, which is a half. So we say half times by B. So subtract 42 on both sides to isolate for B. You are going to get 50A equals to half B. So I want to get rid of fractions. We learned it before. You have to times by 2 to get rid of the denominator. So you are going to get $116 equals to B. Oh, sorry. That's 116 bags of peanuts. Therefore, 116 bags. The last question requires the knowledge of Pythagorean theorem. So let's try this together. Jenny is designing a garden in the shape of a right triangle. So let's draw a right triangle. When you have a right triangle, you have to know the hypotenuse is always the longest one in a triangle. So they say that it says the second shortest side is twice the length of the shortest side. So I'm going to say this is x. Then this will be 2x. So we say let x represents the shortest side. But if you do that, that really means it can be the color, it can be the smell, it can be whatever, right? So you have to be more specific. You have to say let x represent the length of the shortest side. And you have to include the units too in meters. And now we know the area of the garden must be 30. So we know area of a triangle is half base times by the height. Area 30 equals to half. Base is 2x. The height is x. So half times by 2 is 1. So x times by x is x squared. So how do I get rid of the square? You have to do positive and negative square root of 30. So x equals the square root of 30 or x equals negative square root of 30. Because x represents the length of the side of a triangle, it can never be negative. So this negative one is invalid. And let's do on the calculator to find out what's the approximate value. So if you do square root of 30 on the calculator, you are going to get 5.477. So we round it to one decimal place, it will be 5.5. So since it's a rounded value, you have to put a dot on top of the equal sign. It means approximation. So 5.5 meters. So the shortest one is 5.5. Then the next one will be 2x, right? The second shortest one. So you times by 2, you're going to get 11 meters. That's also an approximation. And now we want to find the third side. That's where we use the Pythagorean theorem now. So I draw the triangle again. That's 5.5. That's 11. We want to find the hypotenuse. Using the Pythagorean theorem, we know 5.5 squared plus 11 squared equals to c squared. Let's put on the calculator. 5.5 squared plus 11 squared is going to be 151.25 equals to c squared. So take the square root on both sides. So positive negative 151.25. Once again, you will say positive 151.25, or C is going to be negative 151.25. But this is the hypotenuse of a triangle. It cannot be negative, so we know this is invalid. So let's do square root of 151.25. And round it to one decimal place, you will see it's approximately 12.3 meters. Therefore, the three sides are approximately 5.5 meters, 11 meters, and 12.3 meters.